And law enforcement tells us that labor trafficking in the marijuana black market is growing, even though 2/3 of U.S. states have legalized marijuana.
People are lighting up all over the country. They call it the green rush. Marijuana has moved out of the back alleys. In some states, it's legal to grow, to sell, to smoke, actually be good for you.
Marijuana is better than all those pills for you in terms of treating.
35% of high school seniors lit up. And that could mean a generation of kids with damaged brains.
Ganja, magic medicine, the history of cannabis in Jamaica. Hi, my name's Elvira Guzman Barnett, and I'm known as a Hollywood one-stop shop, and I trained under the legendary Steve Harvey and Rashawn McDonald. I worked for them from the time I was 18 to about 27 years old, and during that time, I went to USC and got degrees in political science and law and society. Growing up, my parents had Latino spiritual stores called Botanica San Lázaro, and when people in the community got sick and couldn't afford to go to the doctor, they would go to my parents' stores to get herbs so they could heal. After school, I would go there and help in any way I could, and I absolutely loved it. It's no wonder I started my first company when I was 22 years old. I've always had a mind for business and helping others, and that's exactly what I do with every project I've worked on in Hollywood. You might be asking how and why I fell in love with Ganja at 25 and why I stopped working with Steve and Rashawn at 27. The quick answer is, I got sick. I mean, really sick. I had to let go of some things so that I could focus on healing my body. When it all happened, I didn't have the courage to tell anyone. I was literally in shock and feeling like I was about to lose my life. I didn't understand how this could happen to me. I felt healthy, I ate right, I worked out. I finally told Steve and Rashawn the truth once I resigned, and it was a huge weight off my shoulders. Letting them know that I can no longer be the Elvira I was while I was healing was hard, but necessary for me to be here today. Sometimes we have to let go of things we love for our health, and that's okay. I fell in love with Ganja at 25, and since then, I'm on a mission to tell the world about this magic plant so that we can all heal ourselves. I fell in love with Ganja because at 25, I was at a meeting with a client about her book, and she noticed that I wasn't the happy, bubbly Elvira that I usually am. And when she asked me what was wrong, I actually told her the truth, which was very hard for me at the time. I told her I had a really bad pain on the right side of my stomach, and she told me that I needed to go see her husband, who at the time owned a huge hospital in Sherman Oaks, and he was a gynecologist. She told me that she was going to tell the nurse that I was a family member so that I could get an appointment ASAP. And as soon as we were done with the lunch, I went to his office, and sure enough, she had made it happen, and I was next in line to see her husband. As soon as her husband walked into the examination room where the nurses had told me to wait, he asked me to lie down so that he can examine the part of my stomach that had been hurting. He felt a bump and told me that he was almost certain I had a very large ovarian cyst, and he wanted me to go get an ultrasound immediately to confirm what he thought. He told me that if what he suspected was true, I would need to go into emergency surgery, and after surgery, I should decrease my stress by 80%. He suggested I close down my publicity office in Hollywood and that I only have the clients I absolutely needed. Needless to say, I left scared, thinking that the whole world was caving in on me. I called my mom as soon as I got in the car, and she agreed to go with me to get an ultrasound. And yes, in fact, I did have a cyst the size of a grapefruit on my ovary. The scary part was the doctor could not tell me if it was cancerous and if it had spread all over my body until I had surgery to remove the cyst and test it. I was an emotional mess, crying, shaking, feeling defeated. And in those scary moments, all I could think to do was research. What kills cancer cells? I wanted to live so badly. I didn't understand why or how God could treat me this way. I was just 25 and I was a good person. I was mad at life, mad at God. I was in a very dark place because I thought I was dying. One of the things that I found kills cancer cells is ganja. And the more I researched, the more I knew I needed some ASAP. I called a celebrity client that I knew consumed cannabis for spiritual purposes, and they brought me a special delivery. Smoking ganja for the first time was incredible. I had never experienced my anxiety, sadness, and pain going away so fast. Better than any pill could ever work. A few days later, I had surgery, and I had to wait weeks for the results to come back to see if I had cancer all over my body or if the cyst was benign, aka not cancerous. The great news is that the cyst was not cancerous, but the bad news was I had to get checked every 3 months, which was gruesome. And every time I had 1 to 2 cysts that would grow back, and they were extremely painful. Truth is, I didn't follow the doctor's orders. And with the stress, the cysts kept coming back. That's when I decided that ganja was not a one-time medicine for me. It was something that was going to be a part of my life so that I could live a stress-free and healthy life. Since then, I've consumed cannabis daily, and I have been healthier and happier in my life. I became a huge ganja advocate from that moment on, and I wanted everyone to know about the benefits of the magic plant. I wanted to give ganja a good name, and if anyone could do that, I knew it would be me. A publicist to the stars, and through the years I built friendships with media outlets and celebrities, and I knew that they would support me. So I started doing cannabis awareness events in Beverly Hills at the Sofitel to teach the people the benefits of ganja, and I asked my good friend, NBA champion and cannabis advocate John Sally to host, and of course he agreed. With the media's help, hundreds of articles, videos, posts went out to explain how ganja can help them in various ways. Not only did I inform the public, I also invited my parents to attend so they too could learn the benefits so they could use ganja for their back pain, knee pain, insomnia, and it worked. After attending my first event, they decided to start using ganja oil and ganja rubbing ointment, and they were very happy with the results. I didn't know then how important it would be to convince them about the benefits of ganja until my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer in 2019 and was given months to live. My mom's health began to decline quickly, going from 165 pounds to merely 90 pounds and no longer being able to walk or eat. As a daughter, it was devastating to watch my Shiro not able to win her last fight. All I could do was try and comfort her and extend her life as much as possible. Once again, I went back to the magic plant that helped me in the past, and I immediately called Dr. Annabelle, a neuroscientist from Vanderbilt University that previously healed her son with ganja, and I asked her to please make something in her lab for my mom, and she agreed. My dad at the same time was also doing everything he could and found that CBG gummies increase cancer patients' appetites and found Rick Simpson oil. And together, when my mom could still walk, we went to a dispensary called Catalyst in Pomona, California, and we got her everything we could to prolong her life, increase her appetite, and give her something for the body pain she was experiencing. Thank God it worked to give her a great sending off because she ate her favorite foods all the way until her last day, and she never complained about pain. Sadly, the cancer was too far advanced to be cured, and my mom became an angel on April 1st, 2023, and she died peacefully holding my and my dad's hand with our entire family around us. I want to honor my mom by doing this documentary because I want the world to know about ganja, because I truly feel in my heart that if my mom would have used this plant daily, she would still be here today. It's because of this that I decided to create this documentary. It's time people know the truth about ganja and the truth about our history. The handsome gentleman you've seen in the images is my husband, Omar Barnett, from Kingston, Jamaica. And with his encouragement, love, and support, I present to you Ganja Magic Medicine, the history of cannabis in Jamaica. When you hear the word ganja, you immediately think of Jamaica, Rastafari religion, and of course, the legendary music genius and ganja advocate Bob Marley. But did you know that ganja is actually illegal in Jamaica? And if you're caught smoking in areas that you're not permitted to, you can actually face heavy fines or jail time. Yet millions of people from all over the world go to Jamaica to smoke the magic plant that everyone is talking about and are not punished. Yet when it comes to locals, being incarcerated for ganja is a regular occurrence. The numbers are disproportionate, and many argue that the plant should be free because it's a part of the Jamaican culture. Take a journey with me to see how all of this happened. And in order to see that, we have to go way back in Jamaican history. The first people in Jamaica were Taino Indians, and they can be traced back to 4000 BC. They were hardworking people that thrived on agriculture, and they came from South America. They named the land Jamaica, which meant land of wood and water. At the time that Christopher Columbus set foot on the island in 1494, Jamaicans had already 200 villages and had a great life structure. When Columbus arrived at St. Anne's Bay, he found the Tainos to be hostile as they attacked his men when they tried to land on the island. Now we know that their intuition was right. This did not deter Columbus, and he was determined to annex the island in the name of the King and Queen of Spain. Some still wonder why he would do this for Spain when he was from Italy. Christopher Columbus completely devastated Jamaica for greed, and the Jamaican population went from 60,000 people in 1494 to just 3,000 people 50 years later. Today, the remaining Taino ancestors live in the South Manchester and St. Elizabeth region. In 1533, Christopher Columbus decided to bring African slaves to Jamaica to replace the Taino Jamaican families they had killed off over the years. According to the Rastafarians, the African slaves brought ganja to Jamaica, and that is the first time ganja can be found in this beautiful country. Most Jamaican slaves came from the region of modern-day Ghana, Nigeria, Central Africa, and included the Akan, Ashanti, Yoruba, Igbo, and Ibibio peoples. The conditions endured by the slaves were horrible. Families were separated, beatings and torture were rampant. Many died from overwork and starvation. Life expectancy of a West African slave in Jamaica was just 7 years. The slave trade was abolished in 1807. By then, almost 2 million slaves were traded to Jamaica, with tens of thousands dying on slave ships in the brutal Middle Passage between West Africa and the Caribbean. In 1655, a British expedition under Admiral Sir William Penn and General Robert Venables captured Jamaica and began expelling the Spanish, a task that was accomplished within 5 years. This is when Jamaica went from a Spanish-speaking country to an English-speaking country. Today, there is still a small community in Ocho Rios that speaks Spanish. During the upheaval caused by the transition from Spanish to English rule, many of the West African slaves formerly owned by the Spanish escaped into Jamaica's hilly interior and pioneered the resistance to slavery that would continue in Jamaica for the next 200 years. These escaped slaves developed their own separate culture based on their West African roots, known as the Maroons. The British were never able to recapture or subdue them, and they were granted political autonomy in 1739. Their descendants and culture still exist today in modern Jamaica, a testament to their skill and tenacity. In April 1960, the Jamaican government called upon the Maroons to honor their treaties and come to their assistance during the major slave uprising led by Tacky in St. Mary Parish, Jamaica. The Windward Maroons were the first to be mobilized. On August 1st, 1834, slavery was finally abolished in Jamaica with the help of the Maroons. Once slavery was abolished, the British who had taken over the Spaniards in Jamaica decided to bring indentured servants from India, and in 1845 they brought thousands of Indians to do the jobs that the slaves did, and when they came, they also brought ganja seeds. Many credit the Indians for bringing ganja to Jamaica, but Rastafarians beg to differ. Nonetheless, today you could see the Indian culture intertwined with the Rastafari religion. For Rastafarians, ganja is a sacred herb that facilitates spiritual enlightenment and connects them with God, aka Jah. They believe that it opens the third eye, allowing them to access a higher level of consciousness. When they smoke ganja, they experience a sense of oneness with the universe. Rastafari beliefs are based on a specific interpretation of the Bible. Central to the religion is a monotheistic belief in a single God, referred to as Jah, who is deemed to partially reside within each and every one of us. It wasn't until Jamaica gained its independence on August 6, 1962, that the majority of the population of West African origin can finally have a say in creating laws that benefit them versus benefiting the few white elites in the country. Finally, after much struggle, in 2015, the government decided to amend the ganja law and they planted its first legal ganja plant at the University of the West Indies Mona campus. Here is what the 2015 Ganja Law Amendment says. Possession of up to 2 ounces is a petty offense and will not result in a criminal record. Cultivation of 5 or fewer plants is permitted. Practitioners of the Rastafari faith may use cannabis for religious purposes. Tourists with a prescription for medical marijuana may apply for permits to purchase small amounts. The amendment opens the possibility of a licensing authority to deal with cultivation and distribution of medical marijuana. Jamaica will continue to prosecute traffickers and target the international cannabis trade. This helped, but many, including Rastafarians, believed it was simply not enough. 3 years later, in March 2018, Balram Baswami, a longtime advocate, opened the first legal medical ganja dispensary, Kaya Herb House, in Drax Hall, St. Anne. Also in 2018, Douglas K. Gordon hosted the first Canex in Montego Bay, Jamaica, which brought ganja entrepreneurs from over 30 different countries to discuss how they can collaborate and help legalize the plant so that Jamaica can benefit from the ganja green rush, just like everyone else in the world. The truth is the Jamaican economy is on a downward spiral, with 80% of its educated people moving abroad for better paying jobs, and the population is decreasing. Fully legalizing ganja can definitely help the economy bounce back by creating jobs and by increasing medical tourism. Knowing this information gives us power to know what to do to not only legalize ganja in Jamaica, but globally. If we know that ganja first must get fully legalized federally in the US in order for the rest of the countries to follow suit, we know we must apply pressure to the representatives who can make that decision and not stop until change is made. Many ask, can Jamaica's government amend their Ganja Act to be more lenient? Of course, many say absolutely yes. And yet the government officials find themselves in a bind because they want to do what is best for the country. And saying yes to complete legalization of ganja can actually mean no to a lot of country support. More and more Jamaican government officials have come out in support of ganja, and that has definitely made a huge difference. Here are a few of their stories. Ganja has been an important part of many Jamaicans' lives since childhood, and now that they are all grown up, are in powerful positions, they are determined to have the laws changed so that the plant can be free for all to use with no restrictions. The fight to fully legalize ganja has been a long one in Jamaica, but with the passion and determination that I've seen researching for this documentary, I have faith that soon ganja will be free in Jamaica and the economy will fully bounce back. And many will go back home for the great new opportunities that ganja has to offer so they can be with their families once again. Ganja, Magic Medicine, The History of Cannabis in Jamaica by Elvira Guzman Barnett.